I thought I'd work through the quadrilateral practice worksheet, which is also the quizzes assignment. So first up, on the first 6 questions, we're going to use this as a guide. So this is a rectangle. So we need to think about what we know about rectangles. We know that the opposite sides are congruent and parallel. We know that right angles are in all 4 corners of a rectangle. We know that the diagonals are equal length and bisect each other, which means that this piece right here is the same as that one, which is the same as that one, and the same as that one. And then we know that we have some congruent triangles going on. So first up, we are asked for the measure of angle ABC. So ABC is this corner right here, and we know since it's a rectangle that that's going to be a right angle. So we know that that one is 90 degrees. Angle 7, okay, I'm going to use pencil here. So angle 7 is 46. So this is 46 degrees, and we're asked to figure out angle 8, which is right there. Well, I know that that makes a right angle. So if I take 90 degrees, which is the right angle, and subtract the 46 that is for angle 7, that's going to leave me with 44 degrees right there for angle 8. So I know that is 44 degrees. All right, next up, AC is 22, so how long is DE? All right, well, if AC is 22, I know that DB is also going to be 22, which also makes each of these pieces 11. So DE is going to be 11. All right, if AB is 18 and CD is 4x minus 2, I know that AB and CD are equal. So all I need to do for this one is to solve an equation. So 4x minus 2 needs to equal 18, so I can add 2, divide by 4, and x equals 5. All right, next up, angle 8 is 72, so figure out angle 9. All right, so angle 8 is 72 degrees. So here's what I know about this is if this is 72 degrees, I can figure out what angle 7 is. I don't really need that though. But what I know is that this triangle right here is an isosceles triangle because those two sides are the same length. So if those two sides are the same length, then the angles across from them are going to be the same angle. So if this is 72, this is 72. So if I put that together, that would be 144. And then if I subtract from 180, that will tell me what the measure of angle 9 is, which if that's 144, that should be 36 degrees. So 36 degrees. All right. And then last one for this section, angle 3 is 2x plus 7. Angle 7 is 3x minus 2. So angle 3 is up here, angle 7 is down here. Since these sides are parallel, that works as a transversal. So 3 and 7 are congruent. They're alternate interior angles. So angle 3, which is 2x plus 7, is the same as angle 7, which is 3x minus 2. So subtract 2x and add 2 to both sides, and x equals 9. All right, so that takes care of the rectangle. All right, next up, we're going to look at the rhombus. So things that we know about a rhombus. We know that all 4 sides are congruent. I also know that right in here, I have 4 right triangles. Those are right angles right in there. I know that the diagonals are bisected, but they're not congruent. So this piece is the same as this piece. And this one is the same as that one, but different from the other, which is why it leans to the side. All right, so let's see what we're asked about here. So angle 8 is 38. So angle 8 right there is 38 degrees. So figure out what angle 2 is. All right, well, what we know about a rhombus is that these 4 right triangles are identical. So if this one is 38, which is between the first and second sides, this one is 38, and this one is 38, and this one is 38. So if I just look at one right triangle, this one is 90, this one is 38, and I know that the triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So if I take, really I can just subtract the 38 from the 90 degrees because this is already 90. So 90 and 38, that would leave me, I'm thinking that's 52 degrees for that angle right there. So 52 degrees. Okay, whoops. HJ is 28, so I need to figure out what HF is. All right, well, hold on a second. Clear this out. Okay, if HJ is 28, then HF is going to be 28 times 2, which is 56. So that's 56. All right. GH is, so this side right here is 3x minus 5. I know EH is 31, which actually tells me that all the sides are 31. FG is 2y minus 3. So what is x plus y? Okay, well, obviously I have to figure out what x is and what y is. So first up, I know that these sides are all 31. So this is 31 and this is 31. So let's see, add 3, so y would be 17. All right, add 5, so x is 12. So now x plus y would be 29. All right, and that takes care of the rhombus section. All right, now we're on to the square. So things we know about a square. Square is the perfect one here. So we know all 4 sides are the same. We know that these are right angles in here. So we have 4 right triangles. And then we know that the diagonals bisect each other, but they're also congruent, which is why it stands straight up. So that tells me that this side and this side and this side and this side are all the same. So what we actually end up with is an isosceles. So if you look right there, we have an isosceles right triangle. So we have a right triangle where the legs are the same length. Okay, so let's see what we're asked for. Okay, KM is 15. So KM is 15. So MN is going to be 7.5. So 7.5. All right. JK, which is this side, is 13. So if that's 13, then we know all the sides are 13. And LM is 2x minus 15, which means that it is 13. So if we add 15 and divide by 2, do we get 14? So add 15, that would be 28 divided by 2, so x is 14. All right. Next up, LN is 4, so find KL. Okay, so LN is 4. So LN is 4, so this piece right here is 4, which means this piece is 4, and so is that one, and so is that one. So we have to figure out KL. Okay, so here's where I got to put a little thought into this. I have a right triangle right here, and I reminded you in our previous video that Pythagorean theorem applies to right triangles. So basically what we have going on here is we have a right triangle where the legs are 4. So if that's C, so A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So that would be 16 plus 16 would be C squared, which means C squared is 32, which means C is the square root of 32, which I can simplify to be 4 square root of 2. So KL is 4 square root of 2. All right. Okay, next one. Kites. All right, so this is kite. So there's a lot of stuff on the kites. The diagonals are not drawn in here, but that's fine. But we know that those two consecutive sides are congruent, and we know those two consecutive sides are congruent. And then on a kite, we only have one set of congruent angles, and those are the ones that are across from each other. Because if we split this right here, so if, I'll use pencil, so if we were to split our kite in half, right here we'll get congruent triangles. Here's side, side, side. So we have congruent triangles. So we know that this angle right here is congruent to that angle right there. All right, so let's see what we have. So the measure of angle Q is 20. Okay, so down here is 20. And actually, I think I'm going to erase this because I don't think it's going to be needed, right? So this one is 20. This one is 80. So figure out this one. Okay, so here's the deal. So we also know that a quadrilateral has 360 degrees in it. So if a quadrilateral has 360 degrees in it, I know 100 degrees right there, which would leave 260 degrees that has to be split equally between those two angles, means each one would be 130 degrees. So 130 degrees. All right, next question. So let me erase this stuff. Maybe I'll leave that there so you can review the math if you need to. Okay, so this one is 110, which means this one is 110. This one is 90, so we have to figure out this one. Oh, okay, so that's very similar. So if I add these together, let's see, that's 200, so that's 310. So 360 degrees, and I know 310 of it, which leaves 50 degrees for this angle down here. So 50 degrees. Okay, now we're doing isosceles trapezoid. So the deal with isosceles trapezoid, we know that these two sides are parallel. Those are the bases. And we know that those two sides are congruent. Remember that in the video also that we could think of these as being parallel sides with a transversal, which means this one could also be there too. All right, so let's see. Measure of angle T is 130, so find U. Okay, so this is 130 degrees right here. We have to figure out this one. Well, if we look at this as parallel lines with a transversal, these two angles have to add up to 180 degrees, which means that one has to be 50. So 50 degrees. All right, there you have it. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the characteristics of quadrilaterals and how they can help you determine missing sides and angles.